everyone. So the 30-minute timer went off, so we're back for round 2 of stretch and folds. I need to take the cover off my dough and I'll move it over so you can see it better. Shower cap off. So let's take a look at the dough, and what I see at this point is I can see it's more wet looking. It's still very sticky. And if I look underneath, lots of bubbles are forming. So, and you can see that it has grown since the last time we looked at it. So now it's time for the next round of stretch and folds. And then just to remind you, a stretch and fold, I wish I could show this better. There, that's a little bit better. A stretch and fold means that you're grabbing the dough, stretching it up, and flipping it over. And if you think of it like a clock, you're going to do 12 o'clock and then turn it, a quarter turn, stretch and fold, a quarter turn, stretch and fold, another quarter turn, stretch and fold. And honestly, a lot of people just do those 4 stretch and folds. They put it back to sleep for 30 more minutes and then come in and do the 3rd round of stretch and folds. I usually do a little bit more of than just those 4 stretch and folds. So let's get started. So I like to use the bowl scraper or the dough scraper to do that, to get it started. So here's a stretch and fold 1, flip it over, stretch and fold 2. And as you can see, look at, it's not really sticking to my gloves as much this time. Stretch and fold 4. Or 3, and then this will be the 4th stretch and fold. So I made it all the way around the clock. And I could stop at that point and that's it. And you can see that the dough is becoming more and more smooth. It's not as sticky. It's not sticking to my gloves like it was before. But I had told you that some people don't really use stretch and folds. And honestly, I don't as much as I used to in the beginning. Some people use what they call a coil and fold. That's when you grab the dough on each side, more in the middle, and it still stretches the dough. You can see it's stretching, and then they just set it down. That's called a coil and fold. And then you still turn the bowl the same. It's not stretching as much, and set it down. Turn it again. Let gravity kind of take it and stretch it a little bit. Set it down. Grab it in the middle. Set it down. So that would have been 1 clock rotation for a coil and fold. So you can use stretch and folds, you can use coil folds, and then I had mentioned that some people do something called a slap and fold, and honestly, I have noticed that that works really well on my dough, and I know I keep pointing out that the dough is becoming more and more smooth, but when you see that I do a slap and fold, you won't believe how smooth it will become. So you grab it just like you're doing a coil and fold, but then instead of just setting it down gently like that, like a coil fold, you slap it on the bowl like that. So I'll show you what that looks like with the dough then. Look at that. Already the bubbles are forming on top. It just seems to speed things up. So that was after only a couple of slap and folds. You can see the bubbles forming. And that's a good sign. And you can see how smooth it's become. And it has more structure. It's holding its shape in that ball. So this way you just kind of have to judge if you feel like you've done enough. And I feel like at this point, I can give the dough a rest. It's becoming really smooth. It's forming the bubbles. That's showing a lot of fermentation. So I'm just gonna pick it up one more time. Do one last flap and fold. It's right in the middle of the bowl. And that's that. That's round 2. We'll come back 30 minutes. Put the dough to sleep on the warming mat. Cover it up. Alexa, set timer 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
And I'll be back for round 3.